Welcome back, everyone. We are hearing from one of the searchers who helped discover the wreckage of a Pan Am flight that's been missing for 74 years. It was actually discovered recently off the coast of Puerto Rico. Now, 52 people died in that crash. News 8's Shannon Handy shares more on the discovery and why it's so significant.
This crash changed the way we fly. It's the reason passenger safety briefings are required on commercial flights. And it turns out one of the searchers who helped find the wreckage is also helping with another case here in San Diego.
These are the first images of Pan Am Flight 526A resting more than 2,000 feet below the Atlantic Ocean off Puerto Rico's northern coast.
Oh, God, that's a plane. Whoa!
And this is the moment the team searching for it realized their years-long mission was finally complete.
Realization of a dream. I mean, we've been planning this for 7 years. To suddenly have it made real was incredible.
Russ Matthews is president of the AirSea Heritage Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to preserving historic ship and aircraft wrecks. Currently, he's assisting with the search for a Navy jet that crashed off Point Loma in 1978. He became interested in the Pan Am case after seeing a Facebook post about a luggage tag washed up in Florida believed to have come from the doomed flight.
Found the accident report, found the survivor statements, and realized just what powerful stories there were connected with this.
Known as Clipper Endeavor, the plane crashed into the ocean just 9 minutes after taking off from San Juan for New York on April 11th, 1952. Incredibly, all 69 people on board initially survived the impact as the main cabin was left intact. But that's when the tragedy unfolded. At the time, passenger safety briefings were not standard. Language barriers and a lack of evacuation procedures created confusion as the aircraft rapidly filled with water. It sank in less than 3 minutes. Only 17 people were rescued.
In the wake of that, the Civil Aeronautics Board, which is now FAA, mandated that before every flight, passengers need to be briefed on where do you find your life jacket? Where do you find the life rafts? Where are the exits? What do you do in the event of an emergency?
The AirSea Heritage Foundation teamed up with Deep Sea Vision, an eco minerals company, and the Discovery Channel series Expedition Unknown to search for the wreck. A first attempt last year failed because of bad weather, but last month, using a specialized underwater drone equipped with sonar and high-definition cameras, the team located the aircraft.
Oh, yeah. Is this the Pan Am logo?
The search and discovery will be featured in an upcoming episode of Expedition Unknown.
I co-founded AirSea Heritage Foundation 10 years ago. This is easily the most meaningful, most impactful thing that we've ever accomplished.
Shannon Handy, News 8.
All right, you see Shannon Handy joining us here inside of the Right Now studio. And Shannon, this is one of those very unique stories because, a lot of times people will wonder, like, well, what's sort of the importance? Why are we, spending time searching for something that happened 74 years ago? But this does matter. This matters to the families of those who lost their lives there, right?
Sure. It's all about closure.
Yeah.
I asked the gentleman I interviewed who kind of oversaw this whole expedition and the search. The intention is not to actually pull the wreckage from the ocean floor. The intention is simply to know that it's there, to possibly, form some type of memorial, near the site. But, really to give these families closure to know, okay, they're in the ocean. That's where the plane landed. We know it's there. It just closes the book, so to speak, for a lot of these families. It may not make sense to someone that's never gone through something like that, but when you ask him about it, he says really it helps so much for the families to know that this wasn't just, a figment of their imagination. This wasn't something that was made up. This actually happened. The plane actually crashed, and we know where it is.
Now, what was sort of the way that they got drawn into looking for this? I know in your story that this was something where social media played a role, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the gentleman I interviewed, he is based in Southern California, not here, but closer to LA. He runs an organization where they basically search for wreckage of shipwrecks or plane crashes. He's always been fascinated with it. And he saw on Facebook a post about a luggage tag that had been found washed up, I believe, in Florida, and it was believed to be connected with this flight. And he knew nothing about this flight.
Yeah.
So he told me, he says, I started researching this, and he was astonished. He said, how have we of Americans forgotten about this flight? 59 people died. And it wasn't just the death count. keep in mind the reason that we have all these safety conversations on planes, hey, everyone look up here, and this is how you do your seatbelt, and this is where the life preservers are, is because of this flight.
Yeah.
What's so fascinating about this flight is they all survive. All 69 passengers and crew members survived because it was a hard water landing. But back then, these safety protocols were not the norm. And so everyone was kind of freaking out, like, do we get up out of our seat? Where are the flotation devices? And there was so much chaos. And that's why all those people died, because they didn't know what to do. And the plane started sinking and they all drowned.
Yeah. Yeah, 17 people were able to be rescued, but as we noted there, that 52 people lost their lives. This happened on April 11th, I should say, 1952. This was a plane that was going off from San Juan to New York. Now it's been found. You mentioned the idea behind this is not to pull the wreckage up by any means, so it's going to help provide some closure. Maybe we'll see a memorial go by. Now, this company is also in the midst of assisting in a search here in our area. That was sort of the prong that led us to talking with this group. What can you tell us about this? It was a Navy jet, correct?
Yeah, it was a Navy jet. I don't have the notes in front of me, but it took off from North Island in 1978.
Okay.
Is what my recollection is telling me. I have to go back to my notes and check. Maybe Jack can do that. And within minutes of it taking off, it crashed into the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Point Loma. One person was recovered.
Yeah.
He was dead in the water. The wreckage,
Yep,
at
you're
least
right,
the majority of
1978,
which was not recovered, as well as the second pilot.
Yeah.
And so the guy I interviewed, Russ, he is working with local divers to find the wreckage and find the pilot. It was a family member that knew about the work that Russ does, who said, hey, if you're interested in finding plane wrecks, shipwrecks, my father, this was the daughter of the missing pilot, my father was involved in this crash, and if you could find the wreckage, that would mean so much to our family. And I did ask this question too when I interviewed the local divers the following day. And this might seem like a silly question, but as a journalist, I feel like no questions are silly questions because a lot of people may have this. So are you thinking you could recover the body? The answer is no. It was 1978. So at this point, the body was not
decomposed.
Exactly. So because that question was posed to me by people in the public, like, oh, could they recover the body? No. The intention is, once again, find the wreckage, know where it is, and just have that closure of knowing, okay, they know where he is. This actually happened.
Now I can only imagine, because the fear of obviously that crash happening, and then the search, and then obviously coming to grips with that, your son, your husband, or whoever it is that this pilot was at the time is not coming home. I think back also to the crash that we had in the San Diego Bay from North Island, a naval jet that crashed, where those two pilots were able to eject and safely land. But that was not the case back in 1978, obviously.
No, absolutely not. And what's so fascinating, too, is, again, I did a follow-up to this story to more localized situations, including that 1978 crash, which they are searching for the wreckage. But there are a number of crashes that have happened off our coast where they've never found the wreckage or the victims, because we are such a large military town. So there's actually groups of divers here locally that go and search for these things. They have a fascination with it. It's very common in the diving community, but B, they want to help these families. So there's like a whole backstory to these types of searches. It's very fascinating. And think about how difficult it is. Yes, we have sonar and whatnot, but think about how much water covers the entire earth and how big the Pacific Ocean is. So once they find this wreckage, it's a big deal.
Yeah. Well, Shannon, thank you so much for joining us here in studio to break down both those stories.